Hey, everybody, good afternoon, and welcome to day 5 of the Supernatural Weight Loss Challenge. I can't believe we're already here at day 5. It seems like we just started. And today we will be talking about grace. 5 is the number of God's divine grace. And I really want to encourage someone to give grace to yourself. Oftentimes, most times, the majority of the times, we are giving grace to everyone else but ourselves. This is the month. You know, it's the month of the reset, of the refresh, where we're coming and being renewed in our minds, in our bodies, in our souls, in our spirits. On this journey, though, we can really beat ourselves up. We can knock ourselves down. We don't need any external criticism because all the internal criticism comes right from us. We tell ourselves that we can't do it, or if we mess up, if we falter, if we fall back on our good eating habits, if we decide to let negative thoughts in, if we try to take on too much spiritually, we will beat ourselves up. I'm here to tell you, I'm here to give you permission to have grace for yourself, to not make excuses for yourself, but to allot yourself the space to mess up. Society wants us to think that we are robots. They are creating robots. They want us to think we're robots, but we are not. We are human beings with human emotions, human feelings, and human tendencies. We're going to mess up. We're going to make a mistake. We're going to falter. We're going to fall. We are going to fail. Oh my gosh, I said it. We're going to fail. We're going to stumble every single time. But it's so important that we have grace for ourselves. Grace to say, you know what? I messed up. I made a mistake. I did something wrong. But you know what? I'm going to keep getting up. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep pushing and striving and moving forward. God bless you, Sister Ayana. Yes, grace we have to give to ourselves. We pour it lavishly on others. We have grace for our spouses, our children, our significant others, for our coworkers, for strangers, for people who we don't even know. Oh, it's okay, you got it. Oh, it's all right. Someone bumps into us. Oh, it's okay, you're fine. Someone cuts in front of us. Although we might be saying something in our head, we give that person grace. How do we give that person grace? We don't jump on them. We don't cuss them out. That's the grace that we give to others. But when it's time to give grace to ourselves, we find ourselves lacking and saying, I don't have it for myself. Today is the day that we make a decision to give grace for ourselves. How do we do that mentally? We don't internally beat ourselves up. We're aware and we're cognizant of the thoughts that occur, that happen. Those self depreciating, those negative those thoughts that tell us that we're nothing, that we're lower than nothing, that we don't deserve anything, that every bad thing happened to us, we deserve it. Those thoughts are not thoughts full of grace. The thoughts that tell us that we'll always be alone, the thoughts that tell us that we'll always be broke, that we'll never have a good job, that no one likes us. We all have those thoughts. There is no point in us denying that we all have negative thoughts. We all have negative thoughts. Everybody. The negative thoughts come in from ourselves or from those who we have around us. Negative thoughts are present. We don't trip up over them, or we're not as impacted by them if we recognize that we have the thoughts. The thoughts are going to be there. It's not to say, oh, I don't want any negative thoughts at all. It's how do we go forward even though we're still having the negative thoughts? Negative thoughts will be here. Let that settle on you. I'm not saying that you're negative or that your brain is full of negativity, but negative thoughts will be there. Hey, Brother Lakar. Hey, Sister. God bless you. Negative thoughts will be here no matter what. Let's first acknowledge that. So when we encounter a negative thought, we have to apply grace liberally. Imagine a cut, a bruise. What do you put on it? You put on some type of balm or salve, right? Some neosporin or another antiseptic to heal the wound, to close it up. Negative thoughts are a big wound. It's a big cut. And so when we feel it, when we hear it, when we recognize that a negative thought is circulating in our brain, we don't close our eyes and say, no, 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 no. We acknowledge the negative thought. We understand what it is, and then we get to the root of that negative thought, and then we apply grace liberally. Now, this is, of course, easier said than done, and it takes a process. If the first time we try to combat a negative thought and give grace to ourselves, we get bowled over or we want to give up, that's okay. We keep going. We hear the negative thought. You're not anything. You're never going to amount to anything. You're just like your mom. You're just like your dad. You'll never make it out. We acknowledge the negative thought. And then we combat it with what? The best weapon, the word of God. I am fearfully and wonderfully made in the image of God. If God is not a failure, then neither are we. We are made in his image. See, we use the word just like Jesus did with the enemy in the wilderness. He tempted him. And what did Jesus say? It is written. We don't have to try to have all these big sounding words and 5-syllable words. All we have to say is it is written, and then say what is written to combat the negative thought. And the more we do that, the more we begin to fight and combat the negative thoughts. It's not that they'll ever go away. We'll just be able to turn them down a little lower. And the positivity and the grace will be higher than the negative thought. We can do it. When we hear that negative thought, when we sense it, that same thought could be circulating around in our head for days on end, for years. We could have been hearing it since we've been 10 years old and we're 40 now, 30 now. We have a moment now to apply grace to negativity, to make space for ourselves to mess up and to make a mistake. How do we apply grace to our physical accomplishments or what we want to achieve physically? If we want to achieve weight loss goals, okay, we want to work out for at least 30 minutes every day, but should we not be able to do that? We don't beat ourselves up. Tomorrow is a new day, God's willing. Lord saying the same that we see tomorrow, we try again. We don't lay down and go and eat a pint of ice cream. I'm speaking from what I know. Me and Ben and Jerry's got a little thing going on. Okay, I'm speaking from what I know. That doesn't mean we go and eat a cake because we messed up. No, no, no. We apply grace to ourselves. We're not human. Excuse me, we are human. We're not robots. We're human. Sometimes we're not going to accomplish every goal that we set out for ourselves. And that's okay. If we made it to 15 minutes of physical exercise, that's 15 more than we were doing. Awesome. Great job. I'm proud of you. Good for you. If we happen to not do anything, that's okay. Keep going. Keep striving. Keep pushing forward. We apply grace to ourselves. We say, hey, insert your name. Hey, Steph, you can do this. We have to encourage ourselves like King David did. We have to speak nice to ourselves, speak kind to ourselves, show ourselves love, because we can't always depend on everybody to do it. I have a really good tribe of amazing sisters and brothers, both biological and the friends that have become family that I've chosen, like sister, like CD, good friend of mine, best friend. We've been rocking for some years now. She's an encourager, and I encourage her. But should she get busy, should there not be any communication, we have to be able to apply grace to ourselves and encouragement for our own journey. It's right in here, and no one can take that away, and no one can cut that off because we speak positively to that thing. How do we apply grace to ourselves spiritually? We don't take on more than we are actually capable of. I know it looks good to shout and speak in tongues. I'm speaking to kingdom folks, right? To speak in tongues, to look good and big in church. But if we don't understand the concepts and the reason why we're shouting, then we're taking on more and we're trying to be bigger than what we really are. It's okay to ask questions. It's okay not to understand something that's been said. It's okay to have to keep going back in the Bible to understand, to keep reading the same passage over and over again. We apply grace to our own journey, grace to make it. And if we have to ask somebody who might know a little bit more about it than us, that's okay too. Because with humility, grace comes as well. That if we don't understand, we're not saying that we do, because then we look more spiritually sound than we are. And when the rubber meets the road, when the fire hits, we are actually not spiritually prepared because we have been faking the funk. This is the moment that we apply grace to ourselves, that we don't have to be perfect. We don't have to always do everything right. That it doesn't matter how we look on social media, what pictures we put up, we recognize that we're human and we deserve grace. I'm looking you right in your eyes. You deserve grace, grace for the journey and grace to make it. You don't have to push yourself past the point of exhaustion anymore. Give your mind grace, give your body grace, give your spirit grace. And only when we apply grace to ourselves do we actually see where we are and where we need to grow to. Grace uncovers all, and grace covers all. God gave us grace. We give grace to others. But how about we turn the grace back on ourselves? That we mirror the grace that we want to see. That we make space for ourselves to mess up. We don't take on too much. We don't put on airs or try to look bigger than what we really are. We take it easy. We go slow. And we give our brain a break, our body a break, and our spirit a break. That's how you truly lose weight. You acknowledge where you are and what you can actually do. This is the supernatural weight loss challenge. And it is a challenge. It's a challenge to keep consistently going, but we're in this together. I'm here with you. You're here with me. Let's apply grace to ourselves. Trust me, you deserve it. You're worthy of grace. It doesn't matter what you think you've done. It doesn't matter what you actually did. It doesn't matter what happened in the past. We rebuke shame and guilt in Jesus' name. And as we're rebuking and removing and delivering ourselves from some things, we are filling the empty spaces with grace. Grace to finish. Grace to keep going. Grace to fully acknowledge where we are and be okay. We're not comparing ourselves to anyone. We're accountable to everyone, accountable to our partners, accountable to those that we're on the journey with. But we don't compare ourselves to anyone. We have tunnel vision, and the grace is for us to complete our own journey. If you're doing 5 hours of exercise a day, I'm so proud of you. That's not my journey right now. I apply grace to myself. If you are meditating for 16 hours of the day, I'm so happy for you. I sincerely mean that. But that's not my leg of the journey. I apply grace to myself. You take that on as well. Someone could be doing something that you might wish you want to be doing. Work up to it and apply grace for the journey. You can do it. We can do it. Let's keep going and forging ahead. If you did not get your physical activity in, go ahead and do that. The day is still young. It's not yet 4 o'clock yet. Depending on where you are, that's Eastern Standard Time. It is not 4 o'clock yet. You still have time to get those limbs moving. If you haven't read your proverb yet, we're in Proverbs 5 today. What concepts and ideas and revelation has God given you on that? As we remove the weight, replacing it with wisdom. Have you taken a moment of Selah? Have you rested your mind and your body and your spirit? Have you sat in silence? Have you just sat and allowed yourself to rest and relax? You deserve that. That's grace for yourself. You're not a robot. I don't care what you told yourself or what you tried to power through. You're not a machine. You're not a robot. Apply grace to yourself so you can actually make it. And so on August 1st, when we look at ourselves and we see ourselves leaner in the mind, body, and spirit, that's only because we applied grace, true grace, so we could make it through the journey. I love you. Can't wait to continue on with you in the supernatural weight loss challenge. How is it going? Have you been reflecting? Have you been gaining knowledge? Have you been picking up weight? But muscles, not weight that is holding us down, but muscles. What have you been working on? What have you been working on? This is the challenge, and it is a challenge, but we're going to go through because we're riding on a wave of grace. I love you, and I will see you tomorrow. Don't forget to apply grace for yourself. You deserve it. Everything about you deserves grace. So do it. You got it. Love you. See you. Selah.